This right here is the Army Transport Box from Green Stuff World. And when we are done with it, it's going to be the best army transport solution in the world. In the past, this is how I arrived at my playdate. And if you have an army like me and you slap out over 80 infantry models, I think you know the pain. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can arrive at your game day like this. First we will need to build a transport box though. This is, by the way, how the transport box is meant to be used. But we are going to shush it up a little bit, so you can just put your whole regiment in there. Alrighty, let's open up the bad boy. You can find everything you need to build it inside. Except for the instruction manual, by the way, which took me about half an hour to find. It's on the back side of the wrapper. Don't be as stupid as I am. By the way, I'm not going to use any glue while building this, even though it's recommended. That's because I just wanted to see where it's going, and if I had to change anything, then it would be glued and I couldn't change it anymore. But I would recommend it, so if you know what you're doing, use the glue. And now, obviously after you watch this tutorial, you gotta know what you're doing. We start with the bottom and the top part. It's quite straightforward. You just take two of those pieces, slap them together, and then you slot those little thingies in there to connect them. You need to do this twice, obviously, because it's a top and a bottom part. This is where it got a little bit complicated and I did a few things wrong. So let me help you out a little bit here. The bottom one is assembled right. The top one is assembled wrong. These helpful arrows to tell you which is the right piece and the left one, and also which side is up. But it didn't tell you which side is the back one, so this is where the back is. When you fit those slider pieces where the shelves will go in, you want them to face them to the front. Also you want the longer one on the bottom and the shorter one on top. And here's another advice. Cut off a little bit of the lip here. This way you don't have to push it in too hard and probably break something. But don't cut off too much or it will be way too loose in the end. I also pre-measured the space that I need for the models that I will put on the shelf. So after we assemble the side pieces, we need to go to the back plate. The back plate is made up of these three parts that will be fused together with some shelf holders. So I made sure they will line up with the ones I put in the side panels. Then you just go ahead and bash them in there. Also use glue if you want. Now with all pieces assembled, we just need to stick them all together. This is how you connect the top panel with the side panel. Then we slam the bottom half in there too. And in the end you just slide the back plate in there. Now we need to assemble the individual shelves. And we're gonna work our magic to get from this to this. The shelves are made out of two components. The MDF plate and some rubber steel sheets. My minis are magnetized, so they would adhere to the rubber metal sheets. But here's the problem. It's the same material that I used for my regiment movement trays. And naturally, two metal sheets don't stick together. By the way, if you want to know how I made those movement trays, here's a link to the video. These are especially designed to upgrade your base size to the old world. And 1 week after the release of this video, I will teach you how to make fully customizable and magnetic movement trays. These will allow you to change your formation on the fly and make use of the drilled special rule. Check the video out here. But back to the problem at hand. We need to replace those metal rubber sheets with magnetic rubber sheets, so that our fully magnetized movement trays with the regiment on will stick to the shelf. Here's the theory in action. And let's finish those shelves. My magnetic rubber sheets are not self-adhesive, so I just glue them down with double-sided tape. Then you want to cut the magnetic sheet into shape. This couldn't be easier. The metal sheet will stick to the magnetic one and will be the perfect cutting template. Then we just stick it on the shelf, and then we repeat it a few more times until all the shelves are assembled. And there we have it. I have 2 more pieces of advice for you though. First, if you have a miniature that's not on a regiment base, but you still want to stick it on there, then you have 2 options. You either take one of the leftover metal sheets or one of the magnetic sheets and just glue it under the base. Both will perfectly adhere to the magnetic shelf. You just need to make sure to put something under this sheet. The sheet is not the same height as the base is deep, so if there is a gap between the sheets, then the magnetic adhesion is not strong enough. So I just put a strip of plastic card under it. And last but not least, one of your metal sheets have these strange markings. That one is actually meant to be glued on the bottom of your shelf. This will add 1 additional space to your transport box. So we quickly use that as a cutting template again and glue it to the bottom. And now you have the perfect transport box for rank and file games. Cause remember kids, play hard, don't rank up hard. I better end the video here.